Well, I originally began to care about the natural world when I was a kid, when my parents used to take me camping.
I first got involved, I think, as a little kid in conservation issues. The local primary school that I went to had koalas in our backyard.
The cities can be a great place, but the country is a lot better. So we spent lots of time out in the bush, or in the desert, or in the mountains, or in the ocean. And that's the life I want to live.
I got involved in the movement because I think that when I was born, I had the social justice, human rights teaspoon in my mouth.
I feel really deeply my connection to Mother Earth with that philosophy, the planet as a loving, nurturing, integrated, sacred place. And I look around and see that what we humans are doing as a species is causing incredible damage to that fabric of life.
We've ended up with an amazing planet with diversity, beauty, great beauty, and sufficient resources to sustain a human population that keeps within bounds. And all of that's patently been going wrong, badly wrong, as the pace of industrial development has increased and as the power of corporations has increased and representative democracy has actually been harder and harder to achieve.
Current political climate, we just seem to be a country that's not got its eye on the main game in many areas, and it's unfortunate we need to exist, but the reality is we do.
We have to tackle the issue through politicians who, sadly, are enormously biologically illiterate, and NCC can help to inform that and change that.
You cannot rely on elected politicians to save the planet for you, that's pretty obvious. So.
The turning point for me that was the first time I actually went to look at a forestry operation at Clearfell to see what had been an enormous, beautiful, living entity. A whole section of forest just wiped out, trashed for basically paper making, just left me so sad. But it also triggered me into action.
Forestry was the big issue in the early 90s, which I was very heavily caught up in. Going down to the southeast forests, getting arrested with a huge swag of people, things like that. It was dramatic times.
I think something that NCC and the broader environment movement really should start doing is to really look at telling the stories of our success, and not the success in that the government comes in and saves the day and finally has the wisdom to make a good decision, but the story that it was community members who got that decision over the line.
We have so few victories, and sometimes they're very small, but they're very sweet.
As I drive around the region and I see signs saying Tappan Tops National Park, or Bulga National Park, or whatever they happen to be, and I think, yes, that national park is here partly because of the work that I was involved in, the fantastic team I worked with to make that happen.
I worked with a team on forests from the early 90s that got a change of political position from the Labor Party that led to 1 million hectares being taken out of the state forest's hands, that is industrial logging and wood chipping, and put into dedicated conservation reserves, the National Parks Estate. That has to be the highlight.
My first involvement was to save a koala reserve, a foreshore park around Lake Macquarie, and that's now a reality and is enjoyed by thousands and thousands of people.
The thing that really has hooked me onto campaigning was having a really big win. I was really lucky to be part of the team that forced the government to establish the world's largest network of marine parks.
We've been able to claim that as a victory, make sure that our important marine life off the coast here of New South Wales does have full protection in those 20 areas, and now we need to fight to get the last remaining 10 back.
Nature Conservation Council to me is like the mothership. I simply could not do my work without the Nature Conservation Council. I need that inspiration, I need that support, and knowing that it's there gives me the courage to keep going.
NCC has got a 60-year history of being the glue that holds together many smaller groups. Putting their power together gives us, that is the environment movement, a stake at the top table of government and agencies.
For me, working in the environment movement and being a part of NCC really is a way of life.
I do it because I'm paying back for having had a really good life in Australia. Australia has been really good to me and my family.
I get back a warm, rosy feeling of a life well lived. While the world is awash with horrible and destructive activities, I like to think that my little bit is actually, the balance sheet is on the other side, that I'm giving back more than I'm taking.
It's knowing that I'm telling the truth, that I'm not resiling, that I'm not turning my head away, because I think many people are so overwhelmed by what's happening, they just turn their heads away. And I can't do that. I can't do it. I thought a lot about succession and young people getting involved in the movement. Life goes on, people will step up. I believe that will happen.
I want to have kids one day, and I don't want to leave them in a position or in a world where I say, sorry guys, we didn't really do a good job, now it's your problem. I'd like to be someone who's working towards trying to address the matters that we're facing, and I guess that's really my main motivator at the end of the day.
Being involved in the environment movement is more than just advocating for a cause, it's actually rubbing shoulders with people you've got a lot of affiliation with. Now that's not to say it doesn't have its tensions. The environment movement is full of people that are passionate and passionately disagree with others about what should be done. But that's part of the fun.
I think it's a great example of the good can come out of democratic societies. I think the best comes out of when you have interested and motivated minds working together collaboratively.
It's quite an extraordinary community, and it's really wonderful to think about what happens when a few good people get together and stand together.